Daewon sat quietly at the edge of the large Senate hall, his hands resting on the smooth metal table. The air around him hummed with strange voices and sharp laughs from different alien species. Tall creatures with bright skin, small ones with glowing eyes, and others with heavy armor moved around him. Many of them looked toward the small human group with mocking smiles. Humans were the newest members of the Galactic Senate, and the other species did not take them seriously. They saw humans as weak, simple, and slow. But Daewon did not react. He stayed calm, just as he had trained himself to be. Hanul stood beside him, her eyes scanning the huge hall. She had always been good at reading people, and she could feel the disrespect in the room. Jisoo and Sori sat on the other side of the table, whispering to each other in low voices, trying to stay patient. They all understood their role. Humanity was new here, and it needed to show dignity, even in the face of insult. A large alien named Varuk, who represented a powerful species, stepped forward. His voice boomed across the hall. "Humans, you speak too much of danger. You fear shadows. You fear sounds. You must learn to grow up before you warn the Senate of imaginary threats." Laughter spread across the hall. Some creatures slammed their hands on their tables. Others made loud clicking sounds that showed amusement. Hanel felt her jaw tighten, but she stayed silent. Daewon only lowered his eyes for a moment, then raised them again without showing anger. "We only wish to share what we have found," Daewon said in simple and respectful words. His voice was soft but steady. "The signal we detected carries a pattern. It matches the energy waves from collapsed stars. Something is moving between systems. It grows stronger with each cycle." Varuk waved his hand. "Nonsense. Humans see a wave and think it is a beast. You are children in a galaxy of adults." The laughter grew louder. Even some species that had once been friendly now joined in. Sori looked down at her hands, feeling the sting of humiliation. Jisoo took a slow breath, trying to calm his racing thoughts. Daewon did not show any reaction. He had expected this. The meeting continued for hours. Every time the humans spoke, they were interrupted. Every time they presented data, someone accused them of misunderstanding basic science. Even when Hanul explained the energy pattern in simple terms, the hall still answered with disrespect. When the session finally ended, Daewon stood slowly. "Thank you for listening," he said, bowing slightly. No one responded. The human team walked out of the hall. Once the large doors closed behind them, Sori let out a frustrated sigh. "They did not take us seriously at all," she said. Jisoo nodded. "They think we are small. They think we know nothing. Why do they behave like this?" Daewon walked ahead of them, his eyes focused forward. "Because the galaxy has lived a long time," he said. "They have seen many new species arrive, and most of them did not last long. Humans rose fast, too fast for their comfort. They think we are pretending to be strong. They think we are pretending to understand things greater than us." Hanul walked beside him. "But we are not pretending. We have real data. The signal is real." Daewon nodded. "Yes, and because it is real, we must continue our work, even without their help." The team entered their small human station, which was far simpler than the grand structures of other species. But it was clean, organized, and efficient. Screens lit up as they walked through the hall. The station's AI greeted them with a soft chime. Daewon stepped into the command room and pulled up the data again. The signal pattern flickered on the screen like a heartbeat. It pulsed in a slow, steady rhythm that was growing stronger. Sori leaned over his shoulder. It increased again. Not by much, but still. Daewon studied the numbers. Every increase matters. "We must not ignore this," Jisoo brought up another screen. "There are small disruptions in nearby systems, tiny ones. But they match the direction of the signal." Hanul crossed her arms. "The Senate will not believe us unless something huge happens. And by then it may be too late." Daewon looked at her with calm eyes. "Then we must plan without them. We cannot depend on the Senate. We cannot wait for them to respect us." They worked late into the night studying the data, running simulations, and checking patterns. The more they looked, the more certain they became. Something powerful was moving through space, something that did not match any known creature or cosmic event. Hours later, Daewon stepped away from the screen and looked at the team. "We will prepare quietly. We will send a message to Earth. We will recommend silent readiness. No loud warnings. No large movements. Everything must be done calmly," Sori frowned. "But won't that look suspicious to the Senate?" "It will," Daewon said. "But suspicion is better than panic. Besides, they do not watch us closely. They think we are simple. That may help us now. Hanil nodded slowly. I agree. Humans must take care of themselves. Daewon typed a series of commands. A secure channel opened. The message he sent was short and clear. Continue monitoring. Increase hidden defenses. Prepare for silent withdrawal. Do not provoke. Once the message was sent, the team seemed to grow more alert. They all felt the weight of what was coming. The next day, they returned to the Senate. Once again, they were met with laughs and cold eyes. Varric was the loudest among them, mocking humans for being afraid of shadows again. Daewon simply bowed and took his seat. As the meeting went on, Jisoo noticed something. When other species spoke, they praised themselves. When they discussed danger, they dismissed it. No one had the humility to listen to warnings from a young species. Jisoo leaned closer to Daewon. They do not want to see the truth, he whispered. Daewon whispered back. Truth does not need their acceptance. It only needs time. Another round of laughter filled the hall when Daewon presented one more piece of evidence. But this time, Daewon watched them carefully. He was not angry. He was learning. He was understanding how blind the Senate had become. After the meeting, as the team walked back to their station, Hanil finally spoke. How long do you think we have? Daewon looked at the stars through the window-lined corridor. Enough time to prepare, but not enough time to waste. Sori hugged her arms. Will humanity be safe? If we stay calm and move early, Daewon answered. The team returned to their work. They strengthened silent communication channels. They arranged secret transport routes. They updated maps for fast retreat if needed. And they continued recording the growing signal. As days passed, the Senate continued to mock them. The humans were ignored, pointed at, and laughed at during every session. But Daewon and his team no longer cared. They listened, they observed, and they worked. Human ships began to reduce their traffic to shared stations. Human colonies became quieter. Human diplomats returned home one by one. All of it happened without noise, without protest, without attention. Daewon watched the Senate Hall one last time before leaving for the day. He looked at each species that laughed at them so easily. One day, he said quietly, you will understand what we tried to tell you. Hanul placed a hand on his arm. And when that day comes, Daewon gave a slow, steady breath. We will see who laughs then. Daewon and his team returned to the human station, the quiet hum of the engine surrounding them. They had spent days observing the signal, watching how it moved and changed. It was growing stronger and faster, and they knew the Senate would never take it seriously. They had to act on their own. Hanul paced the room, her steps echoing softly. Daewon, the signal is accelerating. If we wait much longer, even our plans might not be enough. Daewon nodded, his fingers resting lightly on the control panel. We cannot wait for their permission. Humanity must protect itself first. We will begin preparations for withdrawal. Quietly, efficiently. Sori and Jisoo worked side by side at the terminal, checking ship readiness and routes. Each human vessel was to move in silence, avoiding the busy lanes of the galaxy. No alerts, no warnings, just smooth departures. They mapped routes through regions where sensors of other species rarely looked. Hanul brought up the Senate reports. Even after all our warnings, they mocked us. They called our data a joke, said we exaggerated danger. If they only listened. Daewon shook his head. They cannot see what we see. Their arrogance blinds them. We do not need them to understand. We only need to act. The team spent hours preparing. Human ships were fitted with stealth technology. Old ships upgraded quietly to avoid detection. Food, supplies, and essential equipment were packed. Every colony received a hidden message, telling them to prepare for sudden departure without revealing the reason. Late at night, Daewon stood by the observation window, looking at the distant stars. The galaxy seemed calm, but he knew the signal was moving closer. Its energy waves would reach inhabited systems soon. If the humans were not ready, it could be catastrophic. Hanul joined him silently. She looked out at the stars, too, her expression thoughtful. Do you think they will ever forgive us for leaving without telling them? She asked. Daewon shook his head slowly. Forgive? Perhaps. Understand? Maybe one day. But survival, is more important now. The next day, the team began their final checks. Human ships were leaving their usual stations under the cover of darkness. Transmissions were minimal. Colonies vanished from shared communications slowly, almost like shadows fading. Other species noticed small gaps, but they dismissed them as normal movements. No one suspected the full truth. Story monitored the communications channels. All systems are moving, no alerts triggered. It's working. Jisoo leaned over her shoulder. Good. Every ship must leave quietly. Even one exposed could attract attention. Hours passed. By the time night came again, most human vessels had already begun their silent journey home. Hanul checked the star maps. We are almost done. Every route clear, no sensors detecting us. Daewon nodded, satisfied. Prepare the final message. It will be left behind for the Senate. Simple, honest, no warnings, just a record. He typed carefully, sending the message to a secure channel. It was brief but direct. We tried to warn you. We leave now. Observe and learn. When the message was sent, the human team allowed themselves a moment of relief. For the first time, they felt a small victory in a galaxy that had mocked them for weeks. But the signal continued to grow, pulsing across space like a heartbeat that no one else could feel. Daewon knew it was only a matter of time before it reached populated systems. Their silent withdrawal was necessary, but it would not stop the event itself. Hanul turned to him. Do you think they will ever understand what we did? She asked. Daewon did not answer immediately. He studied the empty halls of the station, thinking of the laughter in the Senate. Perhaps when they see the consequences, he said finally, then they will understand. The human team worked through the next days, ensuring all systems were hidden and secure. They monitored energy levels, checked warp engines, and confirmed supply chains. Even in silence, they communicated carefully with all colonies, making sure no one was left behind. Meanwhile, the Senate continued their meetings. Members commented on the disappearing human presence, some with curiosity, some with annoyance. No one guessed the truth, not even the powerful Varuk. They assumed humans were unprepared or overwhelmed, missing entirely the careful planning happening in secret. Sori smiled quietly to herself. They think we are weak. They have no idea. Jisoo nodded. By the time they realize, it will be too late. Daewon gathered the team one last time in the command room. We move at dusk. All ships leave simultaneously. No signal, no announcement. Just departure. When we are gone, humanity is gone. Understand? Every member nodded solemnly. The responsibility weighed heavily on them, but they knew it was necessary. Hanul added, We do this not to scare anyone, not to punish them, only to survive. Dusk arrived, quiet and unremarkable. The human fleet began to move, leaving stations, ports, and trade routes empty. Their paths were hidden from sensors, and their ships traveled in silence. Other species watched the empty docks, puzzled, but did not investigate further. The signal continued to pulse, closer now. Energy waves swept across systems, creating minor disturbances that went unnoticed by most. Only Daewon and his team knew the true magnitude of what was approaching. By nightfall, every human vessel had reached secret locations far from shared space. Each colony was secure, each ship hidden. Communication lines were silent, transmitting only in encrypted bursts. Humanity had vanished without a sound. Hanul looked at the screens, showing the empty systems. We did it. They cannot track us. They cannot stop us. Daewon placed his hand on her shoulder. Yes, and now we wait. But we do not sit idle. We continue to monitor. The signal is still coming. It will test the galaxy, with or without us. Sori smiled faintly. They mocked us for months, yet here we are, safe and prepared. Jisoo added, and one day they will understand the cost of ignoring truth. As the team worked into the night, the stars outside their station seemed calm, but Daewon knew better. The cosmic danger they had predicted was coming closer every hour. Humanity had moved silently, leaving behind only a message, a warning that no one in the Senate would act upon in time. Daewon turned to look at his team. We have done what we must. We acted when others could not. That is the strength of humanity. We do not wait for permission. We do not rely on applause. We survive, and we prepare. The night passed quietly, but the pulsing signal grew stronger, a reminder that the galaxy's tests had begun. Humanity had withdrawn from the noise, from the laughter, from the arrogance of others, and in that silence they waited, ready for what was to come, stronger and more prepared than anyone could imagine. Days passed, and the human presence in the galaxy seemed to vanish entirely. Systems that had once thrived with human colonies and trade stations were now quiet. The Senate noticed gaps in reports and missing fleets. Speculations ran rampant. Some suspected internal problems. Others thought humans had abandoned their colonies due to poor management. No one suspected the true reason. Daewon and his team observed the galaxy from their hidden stations. Every system they had secured was safe. Communication was restricted, only encrypted bursts reaching each colony. Humanity had left no trace in the shared space, moving like shadows through the less-known regions. Hanul monitored the sensors. The signal is closer now. Its energy waves touch nearby star systems. Other species might start noticing disturbances soon. Daewon studied the readings carefully. Yes, they will see changes, but they will not connect them to the warning we gave. They never listened before. They will not understand now. Story was working on power distribution for the hidden fleets. Our systems are stable. All supplies are ready. The colonies are secure. We are ready, but I worry about the Senate's reaction when they find us gone. Jisoo leaned back in his chair. Let them worry. We left only a message, brief and clear. They cannot blame us for their lack of preparation. Daewon nodded. We acted as any responsible species should. The Senate's mockery was their choice, not ours. Meanwhile, in the Senate hall, confusion spread. Delegates argued over why humans had disappeared. Farouk was furious. They have abandoned us. How dare they leave without warning? He shouted. The other species murmured among themselves, some dismissing humans as careless, others secretly uneasy. Still, no one understood the full truth. The Senate attempted to trace human colonies, but every sensor was blocked. Even the most advanced species could not locate them. The missing humans were like ghosts, leaving only faint traces that disappeared as soon as they were found. Back in the hidden human stations, Daewon gathered his team. We must continue monitoring. The signal is approaching populated systems. If anyone tries to follow us, they must not find us. Every ship, every colony, every hidden station must remain invisible. Hanul checked the communication logs. All systems are encrypted and running smoothly. No one has detected a pattern yet. Daewon smiled faintly. Good, that is exactly as it should be. We move without recognition. We act without interference. That is humanity's advantage now. Story added. The colonies understand. All orders have been executed perfectly. They know the importance of quiet preparation. Jisoo pointed at the star charts. The signal is moving faster now. It will touch nearby inhabited systems within days. If the Senate had listened to our warnings, many could have prepared. Hanel shook her head. They mocked us instead. Now they have no warning, and it will be too late for them. Daewon's face remained calm. We cannot waste energy on their errors. We only control what we can. Humanity survives. We prepare. As the days passed, minor disturbances appeared in nearby systems. Energy fluctuations, strange readings, and small collapses began to worry neighboring species. Many blamed natural causes, star anomalies, or cosmic storms. Only the humans knew the real source. And only they were ready. Daewon walked among the hidden fleet, observing the silent ships. Each one was ready for rapid movement, each crew prepared for any challenge. Humans had trained, prepared, and organized everything in secret. What the Senate had mocked as simple and weak was now a well-hidden network of resilience. One evening, Daewon and Hanul watched the distant stars from the observation deck. The pulse of the approaching signal was visible only to their sensors, but its rhythm was almost like a heartbeat. They knew that once it reached the populated systems, chaos would follow. Hanul asked softly, "Do you think they will ever understand why we left?" Daewon did not answer immediately. He thought about the Senate, the mocking voices, the disbelief. Perhaps, after the events, they may realize the truth. But understanding is not the same as forgiveness. We acted for survival. That is enough. Story entered, carrying reports from the colonies. Everything is stable. All hidden stations are functioning perfectly. The humans are safe. We can wait now, but we must not relax. Jisoo joined them. Even if the Senate starts searching, they will not find us. Every path is concealed. Every signal is blocked. Humanity is gone, but not vulnerable. Days turned into nights as they monitored the growing signal. Each pulse brought the cosmic event closer. Every minor fluctuation reminded them that the galaxy outside was unprepared, unready, and oblivious. They had acted in silence, but the results of their foresight were already becoming evident. Back in the Senate, rumors spread about disappearing humans. Some species expressed concern, but few took it seriously. They still assumed humans had overreacted, that their departure was temporary, or that it was a political maneuver. None suspected the hidden preparation and careful withdrawal that had taken place. Daewon called his team together for a briefing. The signal is now near inhabited systems. It will cause disruptions. Our colonies are ready. We do not interfere, but we observe. Let us see how the galaxy responds without humanity's presence. Hanyul looked at him with worry. Do you think they will survive? Daewon's face was calm. Some may not. We did our part. Survival depends on preparation and action. We have done everything we could for ourselves. Others must now face their choices. Sori glanced at the star maps showing the pulsing approach of the signal. The first systems will feel the effects soon. We should monitor closely, Jisoo added, and we remain hidden. If anyone tries to interfere, they will find nothing. The team worked in silence, watching as the cosmic energy reached its first targets. Minor collapses, energy spikes, and system malfunctions began to appear across inhabited areas. The galaxy's powerful species struggled to understand the changes, misinterpreting them as natural anomalies. In the hidden human stations, the team allowed themselves a moment to reflect. They had moved quietly, leaving no trace, and yet the galaxy was starting to feel the truth they had warned about. The Senate, the powerful species, and even allies of humanity were confused, unaware that humans had acted to survive and prepare. Hanyul turned to Daewon. Do you think they will ever forgive our disappearance? Daewon shook his head slowly. Forgiveness is irrelevant. Understanding may come, but survival comes first. Humanity must remain safe until the galaxy learns its lesson. Sori smiled faintly. We were mocked, yet we acted wisely. That is enough for now, Jisoo nodded, and when the right moment comes, humanity will return stronger, ready to protect and lead if necessary. Daewon looked at the distant stars, their hidden fleet secure and ready. Yes, humanity remains, and when the time is right, they will see the true strength of what they mocked. Until then, we wait quietly, prepared and invisible. The human team continued to monitor the signal, their stations silent, their fleet hidden, and their colonies safe. The galaxy outside remained unaware of the preparations and foresight of the humans. The Senate would soon realize the cost of ignoring the warnings. But for now, humanity remained hidden, observing, and ready for the trials to come. The galaxy began to notice unusual events. Stars that had seemed steady now flickered with strange energy. Minor collapses occurred in nearby systems. Communications faltered. Sensors went off balance. The cosmic signal that Daewon and his team had been monitoring was growing ever stronger, and the other species began to sense it. Panic quietly spread among the Senate members. They finally realized that humans had not lied, and the warnings had been serious. Farouk slammed his clawed hands on the Senate desk. The humans were right. They tried to warn us, he shouted, his voice trembling with anger and fear. Other species murmured in agreement. Some admitted that they had mocked humans, thinking them weak and simple. Now doubt and regret filled the chamber. The Senate tried to trace human colonies, but every attempt failed. All the maps they had were useless. Ships were gone, stations were dark, and no signals could be traced. It was as if humanity had vanished from the galaxy entirely. Panic grew as the cosmic energy reached inhabited systems, causing instability and confusion. Back in the hidden human stations, Daewon watched the systems from the control room. The Senate finally understands, he said quietly, but it is too late for them to act effectively. We warned them and they ignored it. Hanyul checked sensor data and frowned. The energy wave is hitting populated systems now. Some are losing power, others are losing life support. They are unprepared. Sori and Jisoo worked together, monitoring nearby colonies. Each hidden colony had taken precautions, reinforcing shields, managing energy distribution and hiding in less detectable regions. Humans were safe, but the galaxy outside faced a challenge they had ignored for too long. Daewon sent a secure message to each colony: remain hidden. Do not engage, observe, humanity will survive. Others may learn the cost of mockery. Hanul watched the readings closely. The energy is immense. Even advanced species cannot handle it alone. They will struggle to survive without guidance. Sori shook her head. They mocked us. Now they must face reality without our direct help. Jisoo looked at Daewon. When will we return? Daewon's face was calm. When the time is right. We must ensure humanity survives. Once the threat is controlled, we can decide how and when to reappear. The cosmic signal grew in intensity. Systems began to fail, and entire fleets went offline. Panic spread beyond the Senate, reaching distant species who had previously ignored human warnings. They scrambled to deploy defenses, but without the technology humans had quietly prepared, they struggled. Varrok's voice echoed through the Senate chambers. We should have listened. We should have followed their advice. But it was too late. Humanity had vanished, leaving the galaxy unprepared for the approaching danger. In the hidden stations, Daewon and his team observed quietly. They monitored the spread of the energy, tracking how it affected different systems. Every anomaly, every collapse, every failing station confirmed that humans had acted wisely. They had prepared while others had mocked and ignored. Hanul spoke softly, her eyes on the stars. They underestimated us. They always did. Daewon nodded. And now they see the consequences. It is unfortunate for them, but necessary for survival. Humanity must endure, even if the galaxy struggles. The energy reached critical systems, causing chaos. The Senate sent fleets into action, attempting to shield planets and colonies. But the technology they had was insufficient. Shields failed, communication arrays broke down, and entire sectors faced blackouts. Panic spread, and some species realized that the humans had been correct all along. Sori and Jisoo coordinated with the hidden colonies, ensuring that each one remained safe and undetected. Everything is stable here, Sori said. The humans are secure, Hanul added. We must continue monitoring. The signal is unpredictable. It may cause more damage before it dissipates. Daewon looked at the readings carefully. Yes, humanity will remain hidden, but we will be ready to intervene if necessary. For now, we observe. The galaxy learns the consequences of ignoring warnings. The Senate's panic grew. Some species attempted to copy human technology, trying to create shields and defense mechanisms similar to what they had once dismissed. But the knowledge was advanced, subtle, and precise. Without the humans, their efforts were slow and often failed. Varrok roared in frustration. We mocked them and now we suffer. He paced back and forth. Other senators whispered, realizing the truth in his words. The humans they had mocked and laughed at were now gone, leaving the galaxy exposed to a threat they could barely understand. Daewon's team continued monitoring quietly. They saw the chaos, the attempts to control the energy, and the failures of unprepared species. Humanity remained untouched, prepared, and safe. They had acted not out of malice but out of prudence, ensuring survival while others faced consequences for arrogance and disbelief. Hanul spoke, her voice steady. We did what we could. We warned them. We prepared. And now we remain safe. That is all that matters, Daewon nodded. Yes, and when the time comes, humanity will return, but not before. We will show strength not to punish but to protect. The energy pulses continued and the galaxy struggled. Systems failed and fleets were lost. Panic was everywhere. The Senate realized that human absence had left them vulnerable. For the first time, they understood the cost of mocking a species that had quietly prepared for survival. Sori glanced at the observation screens. They see the truth now. Will they ever forgive us for leaving? Daewon smiled faintly. Forgiveness is irrelevant. Understanding may come, but survival is more important. Humanity must endure. That is enough. The cosmic signal reached its peak, testing the galaxy. Without human intervention, the systems that were unprepared struggled to survive. The energy dissipated slowly, leaving behind a galaxy shaken and in awe of the hidden preparation of humans. The lessons were harsh, but they were clear. Daewon turned to his team. We have observed, we have survived, and we have hidden. Humanity remains strong. Soon the time will come to reappear, not to punish, but to guide and protect. For now we wait, quietly, prepared and unobserved. The galaxy was still recovering from the chaos caused by the cosmic signal. Systems had collapsed, fleets had failed, and the Senate was in a state of panic. Species who had once mocked humans now realized the depth of their error. The warnings humans had given were not only true but critical. The cost of ignoring them had been high. In the hidden human stations, Daewon and his team observed silently. Every colony was safe. Every hidden fleet was ready. Humanity had survived without the chaos that affected the rest of the galaxy. The cosmic threat had passed systems that were unprepared, leaving destruction and panic in its wake. But humans had emerged unharmed, ready for the next step. Hanul watched the sensors with careful eyes. The signal has weakened in the outer systems, but the damage is done. Many species will need time to recover. Sori nodded. We acted quietly, wisely. The galaxy will remember this moment. But we must remain cautious, Jisoo added. When do we reveal ourselves? They have suffered enough, and the cosmic event has ended. Daewon looked at his team, his face calm but determined. Not yet. First, we must ensure the threat is fully contained and that humanity is ready. We will return only when we can protect, guide, and show our strength without risk. The hidden fleets began to organize quietly, moving into positions where they could respond quickly if needed. Colonies communicated in secure channels, ensuring that no human presence was exposed until the time was right. Every move was precise, calculated, and silent. Meanwhile, the Senate struggled to rebuild trust and stability. Systems that had been affected by the signal required repair, and fleets that had been lost needed replacements. The species that had once mocked humans now realized their arrogance. They had underestimated the newcomers, and it had nearly cost them dearly. Baruch, still furious, slammed his hand on the Senate desk. We ignored the humans. We mocked them. We almost paid the price with our lives and systems. Where are they now? Why did they not intervene to save us? His voice carried panic and frustration. A few senators whispered among themselves, realizing that the humans had withdrawn not out of malice, but out of prudence. They had prepared quietly, surviving the event that others could not, and waited for the right moment. The lesson was clear. Underestimate humans at your own risk. Back in the hidden human stations, Daewon prepared for the next step. He called his team together. It is time to begin our return. Not to punish, not to demand respect, but to protect. The galaxy is shaken, and we must show our strength and readiness. Hanul nodded. The fleets are ready. The colonies are secure. Humanity can return. Sori and Jisoo worked quickly to coordinate the ships. Routes were checked, communications were secured, and systems were prepared for the reappearance. The humans had learned much from the mockery and disbelief of others. Now they were ready to demonstrate not arrogance, but competence, strength, and unity. As the fleets moved into shared space, the first human ships became visible to the galaxy. Sensors picked them up, and alarmed messages reached the Senate. For the first time, the other species saw the humans not as weak and simple, but as organized, prepared, and powerful. Daewon led the fleet personally, with Hanul at his side. The human ships moved in coordinated formations, demonstrating efficiency and control that no one had expected. Their technology was advanced, their strategy precise, and their presence commanding. The Senate representatives watched in shock. The humans who had been mocked, who had been laughed at, were now in control of the fleet, ready to respond to any threat. Varric and others could only stare, realizing that their previous assumptions had been completely wrong. Daewon sent a message to the Senate. It was clear and calm. We returned not to punish, but to protect. We warned, we prepared, and we survived. Learn from this. Humanity is strong and ready. Respect is earned, not assumed. The message spread across all channels, reaching every system. The words carried authority, not arrogance. They reminded the galaxy of the lessons humans had quietly demonstrated. Preparation, foresight, and action were more important than mockery and disbelief. As the human fleets moved, they helped stabilize systems affected by the cosmic signal. Power grids were restored, communication lines re-established, and fleets that could be repaired were returned to operational status. Humans guided others without force, showing strategy and wisdom that was unexpected by many. Hanul observed the activity. We are helping, but also teaching. They now see what it means to respect others and prepare for unknown threats. Daewon nodded. Yes, our actions speak louder than any words. The galaxy must learn humility, and humanity leads by example. Story added, "They mocked us for being small and simple. Now they see that strength comes not from appearances, but from preparation, unity, and wisdom." Jisoo smiled faintly, "And they will remember this moment. They will never underestimate humans again." The human fleets continued their work, quietly restoring order and safety. The Senate had no choice but to acknowledge the presence and strength of humans. Respect was no longer optional. Humans had demonstrated resilience, foresight, and courage without needing confrontation or violence. Varrock and other Senate leaders met to discuss the events. Their frustration turned into understanding, slowly replacing anger with recognition. Humanity had acted alone, silently, and effectively. The lesson was profound. Never dismiss a species that acts with purpose and preparation. Daewon and his team completed their coordination, ensuring that every colony was secure and every fleet properly aligned. Humans had returned not as conquerors, not as oppressors, but as a powerful, capable, and respected presence. Their departure and reappearance had taught the galaxy humility and awareness. Hanel turned to Daewon. "We have done more than survive. We have changed the galaxy's view of humans forever." Daewon nodded. "Yes, we acted wisely, we survived, and now we lead by example. The Senate and all species have learned the cost of mockery and the strength of preparedness." As the fleets returned to their usual positions, the Senate representatives approached carefully, showing respect for the humans they had once dismissed. The galaxy had shifted. Humans were no longer underestimated. They were respected, acknowledged, and recognized for their intelligence, foresight, and capability. Daewon looked at the stars, his fleet organized and ready. Humanity had departed quietly, survived, and returned stronger. The Senate had been taught a lesson in humility. The cosmic threat had tested them all, but humans had emerged not only safe but powerful. Hanul smiled, looking at the distant systems. "The galaxy will not forget this. They now know humans are not to be mocked." Daewon's face was calm and proud. "No, they will not forget. And humanity will continue to prepare, to protect, and to lead when necessary. That is our strength. That is our duty." The hidden fleet had returned. The colonies were secure. Humanity had proven itself in action, in wisdom, and in strategy. The Senate had learned, the galaxy had shifted, and the humans who had been mocked were now respected, their presence a reminder of foresight, preparation, and strength. Humanity had arrived, departed, and returned to change the galaxy forever.